Fires a long one. Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. Didn't see that coming. I'm diddly dee.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Nat, brought to you by OTS. I am your host, Natalie, but most people call me Nat, and apparently some people call me Ops and a bully. Today we have like a really exciting episode. As you know, the Western Conference Finals has begun. And game one was played, but there's still a lot of basketball left to be played, at least from the Mavs perspective. And so I brought on with me some of my favorite Mavs fans to discuss hoops with, and also my co-host of Golden Spaces. So you're going to meet some dope content creators during this show. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves to you because they got so many credentials. So let's just do a little go round. They've all been on the show before, but let's get reacquainted with them. Again, I'm going to start with ladies first. So my girl, SJ, welcome to the show. Let my guests know where they can find you, what you got going on.
Yes, hello. It is SJ at SJ Basketball 8. I'm also a co-host of the 21 Going on 77 podcast.
No doubt. Talking Mavs, talking about the Dallas Mavericks.
NBA, okay. All that.
She is also one of my co-hosts of the Hoopstresses, which I don't think is a venture I've actually even discussed yet on this podcast. But we started femme-led spaces on Twitter where we talk hoops, powered by Buzzer, and we talk NBA, we talk WNBA, and SJ is one of the Hoopstresses, one of the dopest Hoopstresses, one of the smartest Hoopstresses. She's mad funny, so you should follow her on Twitter and definitely check us out on Mondays discussing the NBA. Right now, focus on the NBA playoffs. Next, I have the two men behind the Mavs Outsiders podcast. Some alter egos and other stuff going on with some of them, but I love these two guys. They've been on before to also help me break down some of the matchups with the Warriors and the Mavericks. So welcome to the show. Reese and Bibbs, please each of you introduce yourselves and let the people know where they can find you.
I guess the youngest will go first. I am Maurice.
Wow.
I'm Maurice Williams, aka Reese. Mind of Reese on Twitter and Instagram. Co-host of the Mavs Outsiders podcast and the Mind of Reese podcast as well.
No doubt.
My bad. I forgot to hit the unmute button because, I'm an old person. I don't know how to work technology.
I can relate because I've been doing that lately, just never unmuting before I talk. So it's definitely an old thing.
Yeah, it's definitely an age thing. But, wisdom and all that other good stuff. My name is Mike Bibbins, at Bibbs Corner on Twitter. At Bibbs Film if you're into movie stuff, host of or co-host of the Mavs Outsiders podcast and host of the Bibbs Corner podcast as well. That's where I do all my movie reviews, also write some stuff, but that's on hold right now because the Mavs are still doing things.
No doubt. You guys record a pod after every game?
We have been during the playoffs. We've been doing post games, but usually it's once a week.
Yeah, it's been rough lately. I got a new job to where sometimes I gotta get up at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Wow.
And the NBA decides to put the West Coast games on like 9, 10 o'clock. I took a nap during halftime, which was only like 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely rough out here when we got these day jobs and are pushing out content. So shout out to y'all, but like you see that they're pushing out content, y'all. So go check it out, give them a listen. They're really fun. And last but not least, my guy, Justin, my co-host, he partners in crime with me, which in itself is a task because I got a lot of enemies. So I thank him for doing this thing with me. We host the spaces together, Golden Spaces on Twitter, and he just has a tremendous basketball mind, and I love listening to him talk basketball. So he had to be a part of this discussion. Justin, thank you. Welcome to the show again, and let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me back on. You guys can find me on Twitter at ThePackageJG. haven't stepped into the podcast space yet, but maybe in the future. So for right now, that's the only place you can find me talking basketball.
For sure, for sure. And so before we actually get into it, let me just get like all of the requirements out of the way. So as you guys may know, last week I mentioned that I am now partnering with Loop. If you're not familiar with Loop, it is one of the fastest growing sports communities. Loop provides sports cards for lovers of the game or who collect cards as a hobby, and you can be a part of it right now. So use my specialized link, which will be available in the description for the show, whether you watch it on YouTube or, listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. But that's Loop, spelled loop.cards/natfluential. Again, that's loop.cards/natfluential, and get $20 towards your first purchase when you download the app. All right, y'all, let's get into it. So, Warriors versus Mavs, Western Conference Finals. Was this the matchup everyone was expecting for the Western Conference Finals? Like, if you're thinking about like the beginning of the season and where you thought things were just playing out, would you have expected the Warriors and Mavs to be, playing each other in the Western Conference Finals? So I'm gonna start with the guest, the Mavs. Well, you're all guests, but let me start with the Mavs fans. So I'm gonna start with SJ again first.
Um, yeah, great question. And no, I did not expect the Mavs and Warriors to be the matchup. I mean, thinking about the beginning of the season and thinking about the Warriors, I mean, if you said the Warriors were in the Western Conference Finals, that's fair, based on how they were playing at the beginning of the season. But the Mavs, we started off a bit rough. And I mean, now we can say that it was just getting used to new coaching staff, just all these different issues. But we started off rough, and Western Conference Finals was definitely a reach if you said it at the time. And a couple people said it. I can't lie, a couple of Mavs fans have been saying it, since the beginning of the season, and we call them, optimistic. We said they were reaching and all that. And Optimist Bibbs can chime in with that. But yeah, I didn't expect that, but here we are, and I'm excited for them to keep the journey alive.
When did you first start to think it was like real, like that you could maybe get there? Was it just last series, or was it even during first round, during when you guys were playing the Jazz?
During the season, actually, I thought there was a path, like after the trade deadline when they were just scorching like pretty much everything. Porzingis is gone, and that you could tell that was like a weight lifted off just the entire team's kind of shoulders, that he was out of the door. And that kind of led, to great play and all that. So I thought there was a path if they got like the 3 seed, especially, because I thought, we'd, go through the Timberwolves and then we'd go through I was confident in the Grizzlies matchup, and or was it the Warriors matchup? I don't remember, but regardless, I thought there was a path to the Western Conference Finals. So I thought there was a chance, but still, that was like best case scenario kind of thing that I thought. But after we disposed of the Jazz, that one wasn't a surprise. The Suns, after we definitely like won like game 6, I was confident. I knew we were gonna win game 7 and move on. So
okay. You felt the same, Reese?
Beginning of the season, absolutely not. But in the beginning of the season, I would have believed if somebody said the Warriors were going to be in the conference finals or even the finals at that point. 100% believe it. The Mavericks, no. But towards the end of the season, I started seeing the vision. Like SJ said, I felt there was a path. I really wanted us to get the 3 seed because I felt if we had the 3 seed, it would have been an easier path. But once we got matched up with the Jazz in the first round, I knew we'd take care of them. I did have Phoenix in 6 objectively going into the second round, but once I saw the way we bounced back, going down 2-0, getting blown out in some games, shaking it off, coming back, the team was resilient. I said, okay, we have a chance here. Like, and once we won game 7, I said, okay, we're in the Western Conference Finals. We beat quote. I know how you feel about them, quote unquote, who people thought were the best team in the league. So it's like, all right, we did that. We were resilient. We showed resiliency. I believe we can take it all the way, honestly. So now we here, one game down, and we'll see if that resiliency continues.
I hear you. What about you, Bibbs?
I had to actually pull up my notes from the preseason. I actually had the Mavs versus Warriors.
Notes. You keep notes?
I used to. Now it's off the dome. Usually.
You're so organized. I respect that.
I mean, it's light notes. Like we did a whole pregame where we went through the whole season and stuff. So I had to have some notes.
Nat, he takes notes during the game. Like we do the podcast after, and he like, let me get my notes, and I'm like, I'm going off of photographic memory, brother.
I respect it.
all of us ain't built like that.
Excellence. I respect it.
I love it.
But yeah, I had the Warriors and Mavs as the 4-5 matchup. I wasn't sure with the health stuff that y'all had coming into the season, how that would affect your record. And I had Mavs in 7 to get out of the first round, but I did not have us beating the Suns at all. I mean, I came on your podcast in January. I said, the Suns are the one team I'm not trying to see at any point in the season. And again, it wasn't about the talent. We would always get into these close games with them, and then Chris Paul would close us out. And I guess the way we avoided that was by not letting it be a close game when we were winning. So, it's interesting. I didn't believe that obviously we would get here when the playoff matchups were set, but once we got here, it's going to be a disappointment if we don't get this done, because I have us being able to beat all 3 of the teams that are left on paper. So
for
Shout
sure.
out to you too, Nat. Because I remember last time we came on here and he said that, and you told us, you said, yeah, y'all don't need to worry about the Suns. Like she told us that. And
yeah, I posted the clip.
Shout out to
you
Nat,
did.
Man.
I forgot I said that, but I never respected the Suns. Really. So that's interesting though, Bibbs. You had Warriors and Mavs as the 4-5 at the beginning of the season. That's what you thought it would be. So we were 1 seed apart, but just a little higher,
Right.
3-4. But that's interesting. Justin, I don't know if you remember on my debut episode of the pod, I had you on with a number of other people from Warriors Twitter, and we talked about like what the Suns repeat and all that, and we all kind of dismissed them like, yeah, no, we shouldn't really take them seriously. And then they went on through the season to have, win 64 games and kind of look like a team that was solid. But did you ever did your opinion, the way you thought of them at the beginning of the season, shift, Justin? Or were you always, I know that we both always thought the Warriors could beat them, but did you ever think they were like, because usually 64 win teams are sort of like juggernauts or really dominant and like almost like unbeatable. Did you ever view the Suns in that way?
Of course not. No, I mean, the Suns, I think they're a great regular season team. They're the way that they built their entire like roster and how they play. They, they're heavy on the kickouts and the spot up shooting and stuff like that. And Devin Booker and Chris Paul, obviously 2 great players, but I think there's a limit to how dynamic they can be in a playoff series, especially when you throw certain defenses at them, whether it be trapping or, the defense that the Mavs threw at them in that series, and it kind of threw them off kilter a little bit. And I always felt like they had a ceiling, like in the playoffs, because they don't have that guy, or they don't have one of those guys that can essentially, flip a series on its head with how good that person is, like Luka or Steph, or like those guys at the top of the league. They don't have one of those guys. So I knew eventually their time was going to come. I didn't know if it was going to be against the Mavs or not. But yeah, I never really believed in the Suns.
Yeah, our mutual friend, Justin Jeremiah, I don't know if you guys know him, but I mean, he fought me on that all year. He's just like, you don't always need a guy. Like I'm like, okay, when I get proven wrong, but y'all don't have a guy, so I'm not taking you seriously. I didn't think that they were as fraudulent as like the Jazz or the Hawks, though I did one time make a comparison like that in like Jeremiah was in my DMs like, you're being disrespectful, but they really are as fraudulent as those two teams. So now I'm happy that that was the comparison I made. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the Mavs. I always had the Warriors here, so y'all know that. But I don't think that I had the Mavs here. But like near the end of the season, I started to see a path to them possibly being one of the teams that would make a deeper run than expected. So I don't know at what point it was, but just like, y'all were playing better. You made, upgraded the roster, the way it looked. And especially near the end of the season, like, I mean, Spencer was just playing well in his new role. And so I definitely thought there was a chance, especially when you guys were trying to like catch us and take that 3 seed. I did not want that to happen. And a lot of Warriors fans were like, oh, who cares? We don't care what seed we are. And I was like, nope, seeding always matters. I don't care what y'all tell me. And I was happy that the Warriors went for it at the end of the season. And I'm glad they did, because you can't tell me it's not divine, like why it didn't work out now. Like look at it now. It would have mattered. I'm sure you guys would prefer to have home court right now versus us having home court. So seeding matters for sure. Okay, so let's talk. Well, before we get to predictions, let's talk about game 1, right? So also, let's just note that you guys embarrassed the shit out of the Suns in game 7 and made a lot of people happy. So
that's an understatement.
I mean, gosh, is there anyone like, I know how me and Justin feel about Chris Paul, but I know y'all don't like the Suns or their fan base, but do you guys because I feel like one of you might be a Chris Paul fan on here. Oh.
Chris Paul is my favorite player of all time.
Ugh.
Hey man, look, I can point out how nasty he is sometimes with his BS.
The flop father.
The flop father, But I can also point out the fact that he choked in that entire series. Like, you ain't getting no passes from me. My brother knows I'm a Chris Paul fan. He said, I know you want Chris Paul to get a ring, but I think y'all can pull it out. I looked at him. I said, are you crazy? I said, he going against my Mavericks. It's F Chris Paul till the clock hit 0-0-0, period. And it's still F Chris Paul because he embarrassed me. Come on, how am I supposed to defend him now? Like,
yeah, I hate that for you. I think you should move on from him.
Once he retire, I'll say, yeah, Luka my favorite now. Giannis, Luka, Jokic, Clay, them dudes. Like,
okay. Clay made the list. I like that.
Oh yeah, Clay is one of my top 5 favorite in the league.
I love that. I like that. Giannis is cool. I don't remember who else you said, but yeah, Chris Paul's the only one I don't like on that list. I despise him actually, and Justin is like with me on that, so I love that too.
Most of NBA Twitter is with you on that, to be honest. So
yeah. I don't know where you stand on Chris Paul, SJ.
The thing, okay, so I don't like dislike him like, maybe you and like a lot of other people, but I don't like him either. So it's like especially this series, it was fun to like really like root against him, but other than that, like it's kind of like, oh, he did something dirty again. Oh, Chris Paul, like, oh, he snitched on the Mavs bench, oh, Chris Paul, like,
right,
Chris Paul things. So
it was sort of crazy though to see how that all played out and how things that happened came back to haunt them, like the whole Booker saying he didn't want to like work on double teams, and then like that in part being part of their demise. I mean, it's just wild how things come back full circle, and it provided for great, Twitter jokes, but it's also like, I hope you're gonna get in the gym this off season and get. I
don't want to see no videos about you crying, man. We just working on our game. You should have worked on it more. Kmart Kobe,
you're gonna get double teamed. You probably should work on that. That's my opinion. But
like Joe Kim, you're working out with Joe Kim Noah. He's trying to help you. Like, this is a former defensive player of the year. Come on, man.
You know who else should work on that? Kevin Durant. But anyway, yeah, he's catching strays on here, but he should work on it too. Tell me if you disagree.
At least D-Book ain't get swept.
No comment.
They had that boy out there looking soft.
He was whining about it afterwards in like his post game. Like,
he did it when we did it to him.
Yeah.
He said y'all gave DFS all that money. Why can't he guard me straight up? It's like, man, we trying to win the game. We don't care
The
about that.
thing was, I wouldn't even call
Exactly.
that whining. I think he was trying to play mind games with Jason Kidd, but this is Jason Kidd.
He was
Like, this is
joking,
the
but he was
dude.
serious.
This is the dude who had his player bump into him to get
Now
a
he was
timeout.
whining in the playoffs, like
Oh yeah. He was
about the defensive coverages he was
Mhm.
receiving. So
Yeah. Come on, man.
anyway, I always like to Katie can always catch strays from me.
He did
Anyway.
it on the Warriors once. I remember.
Yeah. All right. So about the game 1, Justin and I are happy with the outcome. You know, it was a
I
good
see the
night.
smile, the megawatt smile you got going.
It was good. It was good for the Warriors, and it was sort of what I expected. No, based on game 1, I don't think like that's an indication of just like how the series is gonna go. But I did expect like we had rest. Y'all were coming off of like a 7-game series, all of those things. I'm just like, the Warriors need to like come out and just like get like a win definitively. Like they probably could like blow them out a little bit. So the way that game went didn't surprise me, but what I don't know if I want to say surprised me, but what made me really happy to see is Golden State's defense look like Golden State's defense, which it hasn't looked like in a long time consistently over the course of a game. What we've seen them do, particularly for the last 2 series, is like at certain moments in the game, just turn it on, right? Which is fine because that's been enough to win them games. But when they're not doing it over the entire game, it's been, you have the turnovers, you have like them being lackadaisical, the other team going on runs. So they were really locked in on defense. They were spry, they were just really looking good, like a younger version of themselves. And I don't know if that can hold up over a series, but that was, I think, one of my like favorite takeaways from the game. I'm going to go to Justin on this, but what did you think about game 1?
I agree on a lot with what you said. I kind of expected it to look the way it did. Like you said, the Mavericks came in with some heavy legs, and the Warriors were energized. I couldn't say that I expected them to throw as many different defenses or defensive looks as they did against Luka and the team. That was a pleasant surprise to see, and I think they're going to continue to do that over the course of the series. Yeah, I mean, I think overall both teams could have shot the ball a little bit better from 3, a lot better from 3, and I think both teams will. So it's going to ultimately come down to, the guys putting their imprint on the game, the main players. So we'll see how it goes in game 2.
Was there any coverages that the Mavericks were giving the Warriors that you saw were preventing problems for them?
Not necessarily. I think, after looking at the Phoenix series and how they defended Devin Booker and Chris Paul and stuff like that, I felt like the Warriors did have an advantage against that type of defense in a way that the Suns didn't, just because they have a bunch of players that can do more than just spot up and shoot, particularly Jordan, And even if you get to guys like Clay and Wiggins, those guys aren't the best at one-on-one, but they're better than Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you kick the ball to those guys and it's a one-on-one situation, Clay has no issue with taking 2 dribbles and pulling up for mid-range. Wiggins obviously has a very quick first step. He's very athletic. He gets off the floor very fast. So if he has a lane, he can, easily take it and finish at the rim. So I felt pretty confident going into it that if they played that type of defense, the Warriors would get a lot of good looks.
Okay. What were your thoughts from the Mavs perspective on the game, Bibbs?
Well, first I do want to say the Warriors were incredibly locked in. Like you could tell they were not there to play at all. I was very impressed by that. They kept it up. They executed the game plan to perfection from what I saw. So shout out to them. From the Mavs side, a lot of the same stuff that we've seen over the course of these playoffs. They come out in that first game. Luka's doing too much, trying to find people when people aren't open. He gets to the rim, has a layup and kicks it out. Like that type of stuff is a momentum killer. And then the others they weren't hitting shots when they were open. So we got into a hole and the game plan fell apart pretty quickly after that. Like once we got behind, it was a lot of people trying to figure out what to do to get out of the hole. And for me, the game was pretty much over before it was officially over. Early in the third quarter, like once y'all went on that first run, the chances of us coming back were slim.
Yeah. SJ, what were your thoughts on the game when you were watching?
Yeah, I wasn't like everyone's been saying, I wasn't too surprised that like how it was going. Like I said before the series, like my one of my main concerns, like beyond just, play is just legs, like fatigue, tired legs. Like, we're coming off a 6 game series, a 7 game series, and you guys are coming off 5 games in 6 games. So you have more rest than it showed, especially in game one. I think I was also impressed with the Warriors defense and all. I didn't expect them to get that aggressive with Luka with the defense. In like right off rip. So that was something that he has to clearly adjust to as well. But I mean the Mavericks, we haven't won a game one in this playoffs so far, and I just think the goal for these first 2 games is just to split on the road. So obviously game 2 becomes a much more important game to try to get. And I think with like our defense was trying to like defend the Warriors again, fatigue played a part, but I also think our offense never gave our defense a chance. And that we're bricking threes and you guys are getting a rebound and going, just running. So you guys were in transition pretty much the entire game, and our transition defense just wasn't the best, and that everything just fell apart. So I think not just knocking down some shots off rip should help out with the defense. And I'm just interested to see what the counters are. I think at this point you can give credit to J Kidd with that. He can make adjustments, whether that's defensive adjustments, offensive adjustments, and his coaching staff as well. But they can make some adjustments. So I'm just excited to see what they come up with to kind of remedy some of the stuff that we saw.
Okay. Reese?
I think SJ nailed it on the head when she said our offense didn't really give our defense a chance. I was actually impressed in the first quarter, mainly the first half in general, with some of the defense they played. The Golden State Warriors were missing threes, but like from what I saw, most of them were really like well contested threes. Granted, you still expect guys like Clay and Steph to make contested threes. We're talking about the 2 greatest shooters of all time, but as long as you're contesting, I'll live with them making it. The issue is we couldn't make our shots on offense. Most were wide open. Some were defended well. I'm more concerned with the wide open shots. There was a entire possession or sequence where we got 3 offensive rebounds or 2 offensive rebounds and missed like all 3 shots wide open, like just clanked. And I've seen this before, and I'm thinking, okay, we've shot bad in the first half before. Second half, we'll pick it up. The game was still close. Steph really didn't get going until like the end of the second, and then when that third quarter hit, Steph started going, shots started falling, and once Clay started getting hot, I said, yeah, it's GG, pack it up. Let's get ready for the next game. Like there was a play. Clay still wasn't getting going. Draymond was on the fast break. Draymond could have scored the ball himself, gave it to Clay, and as you running up, you just see Clay go like this, like, yes, finally the ball went into the goddamn basket. And once they went on that run, yeah, it was wraps. So obviously it's more to it than just the Mavs hitting their shots. Obviously there's going to be adjustments on both sides, but I feel like in this game the Warriors were able to be comfortable. They didn't have to change their game plan at all because the Mavs weren't executing on offense. So hopefully we can come out better next game, execute on offense. I have no worries, especially the way they walked off the court. Luka's walking off the court smiling. The dude's a psychopath. So we'll see. It's not just him.
What was going on with his shoulder? He kept like rubbing it.
I don't
mean,
know.
They said it was nothing, but is there like a lingering thing, or did he just like have a stinger in that game?
I think it was a stinger. Maybe it was like, because y'all were playing really... y'all were playing really physical. I'm not saying like fouling, but like y'all were beating him up a lot, beating up our players up a lot.
But that shoulder has been taped entire Sun series, and no one.
Yeah.
I wondered, like he just had the tape on, and no one said anything about it. Like there was no report, like no one mentioned anything about it. It was the same shoulder.
I
Been tape
noticed he
the
was doing
entire.
like cupping.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Yeah.
why is there nothing on it? Because I'm used to him having stuff on the shoulder, and then it's like he's over here playing with it the whole game. Like, can we just throw some tape on there and get it going? Like, did y'all
And
forget?
it didn't seem like it was affecting him. So I'm not really.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I didn't see any problems with his game. I just know that like when we're down, everybody's got some injuries or something going on. Luca especially is taking a lot of damage, but when we're down, he starts feeling on it a little bit.
I
If
saw
you
that,
It was
man.
for the cameras, you saying?
yeah, if you
For the
if you
cameras?
hoop, if you hoop and you get to throw up a couple air balls, you start wiping your hands on your shorts and stuff like that's what that is to me.
I had one of those moments like I don't know if y'all watched The Office, like where you on camera and you just look like, is he serious right now? Like, come on, man.
Like
what are we
Chris
doing?
Paul all of a sudden having a quad injury at the end of the series and limping or whatever he was doing, right?
All right, not that shameless.
It's I think I don't even think it's voluntary. I think it's involuntary. I think his body just like you upset a little bit. Just like, man, I feel a sudden pain in that
It's
area.
subconscious at this
Yeah.
point. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
trained his body to do that.
Okay. So I mean, you've been consistent, Bibbs, because you did tell me earlier in the season, like if y'all played the Warriors, you weren't like that concerned. And I didn't go back and look at the recording, but I know that I kind of made a face like, oh really? But you said it, so you definitely felt like that. I know SJ slept on us before the season even started. She didn't think we were going to be this good this year, so I know that. So I'm curious to hear what y'all predictions are for the series. I think you've told me them, but we can put it here now on the record for this show. But yeah, I definitely want to know what you guys are predicting for this series and the rest of the postseason.
Well, I'll go first. My prediction was Mavs in 6. Mainly, I tell people why Mavs in 6, because if we go 7, we ain't winning in Chase Center. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you, but I do believe we match up well against this team. Granted, we are playing small ball against the small ball goats for the most part, but granted, they have more guys who can create shots. Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins to an extent, Klay Thompson to an extent, but I told Bibbs there was nothing I really saw in game 1, and it's just one game. There was nothing I saw in game 1 that made me think, okay, we can't win this series. And to be honest, I'm not comparing y'all to the Suns, but I said that like the first 2 games, we went down 2-0. And I told Bibbs on the podcast, I said, I've seen nothing in these first 2 games that made me think we can't win this series. Like, there's some lapses there, but I've seen positives. If we have a chance to lower the negatives and maximize the positives, which I believe we can do against the Warriors, it'll be more difficult against the Warriors. But from what I've seen from this team, we're more than capable of doing it. It's going to start with executing our offense and defense. Defense creates great offense. So as long as we can do that, I have no issue. I know our shooters are going to shoot much better back home. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, considering they don't shoot well on the road. But once we're back home, I feel like it's a different story. But we do need to steal one of these first 2 games. And obviously it has to be game 2 because we dropped game 1 already. But I'm still Mavs in 6.
So to get that, you guys would have to win 4 of the next 5 games. And you think that that's possible? I need any one of you to tell me why you believe that's possible. What are the, you just said a lot of stuff, you did, but what are these matchup advantages that you guys have that would enable you guys to do that? SJ, would you like to explain it to me and tell me what your pick is? I don't know if you're on the same page with Reese.
I had Mavs in 6 too, so and I'm not gonna go away from that either. I mean, I just think like you said, I don't think there was anything like that was just too much to overcome from their side. Again, it has to start immediately. Like they can't, it can't be a situation like the Suns where you're going down 2-0. I think that at that point it's like, okay, it gets a bit harder. Definitely, at least I wouldn't say Mavs in 6 at that point. But I think they can do it. It just like I said, it has like Brunson. He always has like I feel like especially I can't really judge this game because like Brunson was just not giving us anything. Like he was, and at some point some of the shots, and it's not like he got like bad shots. Like some plays, like he was getting hacked, no call, and like the Warriors are gonna get favorable calls at home. That's just how things go in a series. And Dallas, he's gonna get some more of those calls, so he's gonna look better. So I think we'll be okay if like Luka gets it, going, and I think he will. Warriors defending him well, but I think a player like that, you're not like he can overcome great defense. It's just up to the other guys. So, Brunson, he has to, get it going quickly. Spencer has to keep, he has to get it going as well. He gets his, confidence. I knew after game 7, the Suns, I was like, yeah, he's feeling himself after games, 6 and 7. And he came in game 1. I felt like he did, I don't want to say he did too much because, like, we don't really have shot creators. So he needs to do, quite a bit. But I felt like he did just a tad, like, too much. Um, so when he gets kind of squared back into like his role and what he's doing, I think we'll be fine. It's just up to like I said, the coaching staff to really cook up their adjustments, and we'll just see how it looks.
Okay. So you have the Mavs winning 4 of the next 5 to get to Mavs in 6. All right. So Bibbs, I need to hear from you. You guys aren't moving me. I mean,
yeah, I got you.
I'm not
yeah,
expecting.
I need to hear it.
Not yeah,
and also because like SJ, I know you said that, and I think I don't know if all 3 of you believe this. So let me not put words in your mouth, but I know SJ believes that Luka is the best player in this series, and so neither Steph or Luka really got going last night, but I would say Steph definitely played better in that game. So my keeping track, and I'm saying it's Steph 1 and Luka 0. Okay, so go ahead, Bibbs.
No, I like that you did that, and it was funny. I was thinking last night about catching bodies in the playoffs as a star. And, Luka's first 2 times in the playoffs, he was the body. Kawhi caught his body twice. But having Kawhi as the guy that took your life twice is that's not nothing to be frowned upon. But Luka, now he caught Donovan or Rudy, however you want to look at the Jazz, and he caught Devin Booker. So now it's Luka versus Steph. And, if Luka collects Steph, that's a hell of a body to catch. If Steph catches Luka on the upcome, that's a body that counts. So I'm enjoying that. I like that you're keeping the tally. That's beautiful. I'm gonna try to keep up with that as the series goes along. So yeah, I have not made any predictions the entire playoffs for any series, right? So coming into this series, I said Mavs in 5 to be an asshole. Now Mavs in 5, that's feeling kind of crazy right now. But I'm gonna ride with my fellow Mavs fan. I'm gonna say 6. And I know you said 4 the next 5, but I'm looking at it like this: 3 games at home, games 3, 4, and 6, and still 1 on the road. So if we can steal this next one right here in game 2, I'm gonna feel very confident going forward. As far as the game, again, this first game, I'll say it like this: in the Suns' first 2 game losses, I didn't see anything I liked, honestly. I was like, what are the changes that we can make? What are the things we can do differently? I just didn't see it. I didn't see it on the court. Reese was glass half full. I was half empty. In this first game, what I saw is we missed wide open shots a lot early. We got behind, and it was just a snowball effect. Once we got behind, we started pressing on offense and defense. We weren't doing the things that we weren't disciplined at that point. And I think in the spaces, that's one of the things I mentioned with the Warriors is their experience is going to keep them disciplined. When they get down, they're not going to lose the game plan. They're not going to start throwing up BS. They're not going to start throwing the ball all over the place. They're not going to miss their defensive rotations because they're down, because they've been there in this situation with the championship in sight. The Mavs, on the other hand, they showed their youth in that situation. Shots weren't falling. Spencer Dinwiddie was like YOLO. Luka was throwing it all over the place. He was dribbling loose. It got bad. The defensive rotations weren't there. and y'all started cooking us. I can't take anything out of that. We got behind, things fell apart. If we make those shots, it's a completely different ball game, and that's what I expect to happen in these next few games.
Okay. So I hear you, because you guys definitely have a strong home court advantage, but so do we. And also, the Warriors have never not won a game on the road in every playoff series that they've ever played in, like this version. So they always win a game on the road. Maybe you guys will be the first that doesn't happen, but I don't think so. So let me go to my guy, Justin, because you see, I got some crazy people on here, even though I love them, but they're crazy. So I know Justin and I are aligned on who we pick to win the series, but we have different predictions for how long the series will go. So Justin, tell me, has anything changed about what your prediction may be for the series, and what is your prediction?
Yeah, I initially said Warriors in 6. Just out of respect for how good Luka is, I feel like he is capable of taking a game on the road. I might shift to 5. I think overall, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for the Mavs to guard the Warriors, especially at home. Otto, just there's something about obviously the home court advantage for role players that makes them shoot the ball better. We even had Looney hit a long 2, like a KG type of mid-range shot. It was just kind of one of those.
Boy.
What else tweeted Luna's going crazy? Was it you? One of you did. Or
Yeah, I said Looney wilding.
Looney wilding.
Yeah, that was. I saw that. I was like, did I just?
He hit that. Otto hit a few heavily contested middies over great defense, and it's just kind of like, when guys are at home, they're feeling good. They're in the West Conference Finals, so I feel like the Warriors, I don't know if I can see them losing the home game in this series, and then obviously all they would have to do is take one of the road games. So I might shift to 5, and like I said, it's extremely hard for the Mavs to guard the amount of movement that the Warriors play with. I think the Suns and the Jazz in particular are 2 teams that pride themselves off pick and roll and then kicking out and finding shooters, and those shooters are fairly stationary. Whereas with the Warriors, Steph, Clay, Jordan, they just constantly moving. Even our bigs and the guys that are playing off the outside of the playmaking role are just cutting and stuff like that. So I'm gonna just go with 5 at this point.
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was Mavs in 5. I mean, not Mavs. Woo. Lord, forgive me. Can you hear me knock on the wood right now?
Hey, Reese, clip that.
I didn't mean it. I did not mean it.
I'm putting that on Twitter. No context. No context.
Oh my gosh. I had Warriors in 5. And I was like, I don't think it's going to be a 7-game series. So, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that this is going no more than 6. Mm-hmm. But it's just a matter of which team is going to do that. I actually don't think it's going to be a 7-game series. But I do think that it's going to be Warriors in 5. And it's for reasons basically that Justin already articulated. But I just expect the Warriors to be able to win all of their home games. I think they are really incentivized to try to make it a short series, because these, like, at first I didn't think, well, of course it always matters, but a few things. One, the Warriors, like, all the 3-1 talk, all that 2016, but one of the biggest things that like happened in 2016 was Draymond Green's getting, suspended. It forced that series to go longer than it needed to be. And when a series goes longer and you already have Steph compromised, then Bogut goes down. Then Andre Iguodala starts having back spasms. Like, they experience what it's like. Like, the longer you play in a series, your injuries can happen. And that is what opened the door to allow the Cavs to get back in the series, right? And so you just had last series. They played with their food with Memphis when they went down there. And then all of a sudden, Otto Porter's out for the next game. So I think Luka by himself makes them take this series a little bit more seriously, because he's Luka, and he's a top player wherever you rank him, and he can cause you a lot of distress. But I also think that that was like also a wake up call for them. Like, you know, we're fucking around too much, and like a more high IQ team or a better player is going to be able to take advantage of that, you know, unlike the Grizzlies, who are very inexperienced. So I think it was a wake up call for them, which is why they were so focused. They had those extra days of rest, and they can see what those extra days of rest did for them, right? And so I'm not saying that that's just going to make them win, but I think they're going to be really incentivized to like get one in Dallas so they don't have to go back there again and finish it at home. So I just think they're going to be really focused. And their history tells me, even though history can always be changed, that they're going to always win a game on the road. So whether that happens in game 3 or 4, or whether that happens, you know, in game 6, I just think that they will win at least one game on the road. So that's my reasoning, what I just said, and also the basketball reasons that Justin said. So yeah, I got Warriors in 5, and I've said it now a few times in a few places, so it's not a new thing, but you know, we'll see. So
I was in Hoop Spaces earlier, and I said, you know, I'm sticking by my stance, Mavs in 6. And some Warriors fan, I don't know, dude, but he tweeted me and he said, you know, this is recorded, right? I said, I've been in here enough to know it's recorded. I know what I said. Like, I don't, what? If we lose in 5, somebody gonna be like, oh, look what you said. I know what I said.
Right, exactly. You just gotta take it, right? Look, I know, Bibbs, you have a hard stop, so I do just really quickly. Can you guys give me your quick predictions for the other series? Don't have to give me your reasons why, but just tell me what you think. Bibbs, I know you don't like to give predictions, so if you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you're comfortable, can you tell me what it is for the Eastern Conference Finals?
I'll just say this. I have a ton of respect for Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler. I don't know why. He's my sister's favorite player. So that's probably why she's just talking Jimmy Butler praise all day. So I want to see the Heat get back. What happened to them in the bubble was rough. So I'm riding with the Heat. I don't want to see
Mavs fan rooting for the Heat.
Hey, history repeats itself. You see it.
I hear you. Okay, so you're rooting for the Heat. What about you, Bib? I mean, Reese.
I got Celtics in 6.
Okay. It's good to see that they got Horford and Smart coming back for game 2. So
they have players coming back, and it looks like, well, Max Strus is playing, but I'm still not sure of word on Gabe Vincent. Kyle Lowry is still out, so
Kyle Lowry being out might actually help the Heat, but right now, just because he wasn't, no disrespect to him, but he just wasn't playing well in the last series.
The way y'all feel about Chris Paul, I feel about Kyle Lowry, so yeah, disrespect to him.
I mean, I think Kyle Lowry is like, when healthy and can he contribute, he's a difference maker. I just, you know, it might be benefiting them. So I have Celtics winning that series. I think I'm going to say 6-2 because I think they need to win it in 6. I feel like, but like, it would have been more beneficial for them to win game 1. So we'll see. But I have the Celtics coming out of that series. What about you, SJ?
Yeah, I had Celtics in 6. And I mean, after game 1, they let the game get away from them. But it's just kind of similar to the Mavs in that they're coming off of game 7 and all that. So I still have them winning in 6. I have them taking game 2 tonight.
Okay. Justin?
I was going to say Celtics in 6, but everybody's saying that. So I'm going to say Heat in 7. To give a different look.
All right, y'all.
I'm really just sympathetic towards the Celtics. Like, the way they bounced back this year, Ime Udoka as their coach, I had him as coach of the year personally. I think it'll be a great story for them. I like Jason Tatum. I like Jaylen Brown. The fact that they've proved, hey, we can work together. So, you know, I like that story. I want them to make it to the finals, whether they win or not. If we there, I don't want them to win. But, you know, if y'all make it, I don't care who wins. So
okay. Yeah, I have Celtics Warriors in the finals. Bibbs and SJ, if we were to beat the Mavs, would you be rooting against us? Or is there just another team that you'd have invested to win?
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'd be rooting against you guys.
Okay.
Just straight up.
I think I probably would be rooting for the Warriors, honestly. As
really?
far as the narrative situation would force me to root for the Warriors, and that's it. I'm not trying to hear this Tatum stuff no more.
Oh,
What
I
take? Oh
see. I
yeah,
see. Oh,
you're
yeah.
right. You're right.
I would be rooting for the Celtics. So I wouldn't be rooting against the Mavs, but I would be rooting for the Celtics. That's assuming they make it. If it's the Heat, then I'd be rooting against the Mavs. Yeah.
If I had to choose a side to root for, if it was y'all in the Heat or y'all in, if it's the Heat, I want y'all to win because I can't stand Heat fans. Honestly, they kind of annoying. They cry too much.
Really? I didn't
But
even know Heat Twitter gets down like that. Or there's
I mean, they just cry a lot, honestly, about people not talking about them, and it's kind of annoying. But if y'all will go against the Celtics, I, I want Steph to get that Finals MVP, man, because like
appreciate it because SJ is a hater. She is a hater.
people
So
keep
yeah.
saying, oh well, he ain't got that. Come on, man, we know that 15's Finals MVP was supposed to be his. Like, let's not do. Now if he go up in there this year,
see, you hear that? You hear it? Did you hear it?
If he go up in there this year and like Jordan pool snatch it from him somehow, I'm like, all right, you just.
By the way, he's getting that Finals MVP and he's getting that Western Conference Finals MVP. I know y'all think Luka's going to be the first.
I forgot about that award.
So
I forgot all about that.
This was really civil, guys. Thank you, because I expected a little bit more rah-rah, but so if you have any last rah-rah you want to say, please get it in. Justin, would you be rooting against the Mavs or have any team if for some crazy reason they were able to beat us?
I think, if it was the Heat, I kind of like the Heat. I agree with their fans, but I like Jimmy Butler, so I would probably be rooting for the Heat. But if it's the Celtics and the Mavs, then I wouldn't really root either way. I just want to see a good series.
Okay. Justin's always so
nonchalant.
Yeah, always. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thank you for tapping in with me today and coming on and being here. You guys are some of my favorite people to talk hoops with and follow on Twitter. So guys, please follow them. Hopefully, no matter how long the series go, we just get good games that are entertaining. Yeah. Which, if they're close down to the very end, all of our hearts might be that may not be good for our health. But I hope it's good, entertaining games. I hope we get to see the Luka versus Steph battle. I want to see those two guys perform. So I hope we get all of that. So thank you for being on. Make sure you follow these guys. Check out their podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, when I'm saying guys, I'm losing it loosely, but follow everybody, check out their work, listen, rate, review, all those things. It helps us. Warriors in 5, and I will until next episode, guys. Take care, everyone. Thanks for being on tonight.